Hey everybody, welcome to homerecordingmadeeasy.com, visionrecordingstudios.com, and here on my YouTube channel. And today we're taking a look at the new Universal Audio Marshall JCM 25/50, the 2555 Silver Jubilee guitar emulation plugin. This was just released a couple of days ago along with the Marshall Blues Breaker, which we'll take a look at in another video. And I must say, after purchasing the Marshall Superplexi lead a few months back, and there's another video of that on my YouTube channel if you want to check out that review, I was extremely happy to see them go ahead along with Softtube and make an emulation of this particular amplifier. This is really a hot rodded JCM 800 from the mid 1980s, 1986, 1987 timeframe. And it's a nice pairing to have in your collection when you have the 1959 Super Lead Plexi. Now we have the JCM Silver Jubilee, along with now the Blues Breaker 1962. You have three very different high-end Marshall amplifiers that have been well known for decades at around hundreds and hundreds of different types of recording. So now if you are a fan of Marshall sounds, if you have this bundle collection, and they sell this currently as a bundle where you can get all three for like, I think a few $100s, less than $300, which is amazing. You now have the holy grail of all the different Marshall sounds. And so what I really love about Universal Audio and Softtube and what they've done with these guitar emulations, and this is really the first time I can personally confidently say that these things are so close now to the real thing sonically that I defy anyone that is not a total analog purist to really be able to tell the difference between the plugin and the real thing in the context of a mix. And I've recorded something, a little simple little diddle here that we're going to take a listen to. We're going to run through some of the presets of this. But considering that if you were to buy this amplifier new, and they reissued them, I guess, in 2014 or 2015, you're looking at least $1,600 to $2,000, and that's before you talk about the cabinets. Not to mention, you have to go out and purchase all the different high-end microphones to get this sound, and they've done this all in a plug-in for a couple of $100, which is insane. So is it 100% accurate to the real thing? Honestly, I couldn't tell you because I don't have one of these particular amplifiers, but I've used JCM 800s for many years playing live in bands and such, and I gotta say that if this isn't a dead-on sonic accurate plugin, it is so close that I honestly couldn't tell you the difference. I suppose if you put them side by side and went beat them one after the other, there might be some slight nuances that might be a little different, but God, they're so close that I can't imagine anybody could really tell the difference. So anyway, let's take a walk through this plugin. And so the great thing about Universal Audio, if you don't have a Universal Audio system and you're considering one, you go out to my YouTube channel. I have a whole series of just talking about Universal Audio, the hardware, and how it all kind of integrates and how to kind of get up and running. But what's wonderful about the Universal Audio is these plugins are now all part of what is called the Unison technology, which means that you can use, and I'll close this for a second, you can use the included console software that comes with the Universal Audio hardware in order to put these plugins in line as inserts, and you're actually able to play through these plugins and record them into your DAW without putting any tax on your CPU, because everything is running off the DSP power in the box. And if you don't know what that means, go out to Universal Audio and read all about it. But the beautiful thing about it is now you can record through these plugins and track them to tape, so to speak, or to your DAW, and not just use them as inserts in your DAW after the fact. So for example, here is the console software. You can see here on channel 1 my guitar, and I have inserts where I can put, in this case, the Marshall Silver Jubilee on here. You can use preamps if you wanted to record through a specific preamp. If you have other Universal Audio plugins, for example, I can plug into a Neve, and I can run my guitar through the front of my interface, my Universal Audio Apollo in this case, through a Neve, through my Marshall. So you really can record through these analog plugins, which is fantastic. And again, it puts no tax on your CPU because you're running off the internal DSP chip inside of the Universal Audio interface, which is great. So that's one way to use it. And not only can you commit to the sound and then go ahead and print that to your DAW, or by coming over here, or you can just monitor the sound and record the dry signal into your DAW and then use these plugins as inserts after the fact so you can cycle through different tones if you're not sure what kind of guitar tone that you want to use. And that's what I kind of did for this example. So more times than not, when I'm recording or tracking, I will record directly to tape. I'll commit to a tone, commit to a sound, if you will, and then print that to the DAW. But you can do either or, which is fantastic. So I just wanted to show you that. The way we're using this today is we're using it as an insert. So basically I monitored the signal of the thing that I recorded here, and we're going to use the plugins after the fact. So if I shut off the Marshall plugin here and you listen back quickly to this, I'll solo up this track here. You can listen to this. And here's the dry signal. And then I can bring in my different plugin emulators and I can go ahead and I can choose the tone that I want. And that is because, I'll open this up again, because in the console software, I clicked UAD monitor. When I was tracking this, I was listening to the Marshall Silver Jubilee in my headphones, but I wasn't committing the sound. Or again, you can click UAD record and you're actually, whatever you have, whatever tone you set up here in your console software will be the tone that will print to your DAW. Hopefully that makes sense. So anyway, let's take a listen. I'm just going to open up I'm going to unmute this. I did just a quick little drum track with Easy Drummer 2, along with a bass track and a guitar track, just kind of a rock thing, nothing fancy, nothing special. We're going to turn on the Marshall Silver Jubilee here. Let's first take a quick, let's just take a quick listen and then we'll walk through the tones here. So let's take a quick listen to what we have. Okay, so that's the basic sound. This is just the default setting that I chose from the. It wasn't even a preset, although there's a billion presets you can pick from. We'll cycle through some of those, but this was just the default sound right out of the box. So let's take a walk through the controls. I mean, again, it sounds just like a Marshall, which is what it's supposed to sound like. It sounds authentic to me. So over here on the bottom left-hand corner, we have our standby and our power switch that turns everything on and off. Okay, we have our a high and low output toggle switch, just like the real amp did. Okay, and then over here we have basic controls. We have a presence control, a bass control, a mid, and a treble. We have the output master here. Okay, we also have a lead master, which is true to the hardware, which you can click on and off by clicking this LED. Just gives you an extra voicing of gain. And then we have what's called a rhythm click, a rhythm clip input gain, and we can turn that on and off by clicking on the rhythm clip indicator. And again, it just gives you a little bit more gain, a little bit different voicing. Okay, it's that simple. What makes these guitar emulations so great, the way Soft Tubing UAD did this, they did this on the Super Lead, the Plexi, as well as they have this channel strip that usually when you open up the plugin will look like this, and you just click on this channel strip over here. And this is what really makes this powerful, because it's not just one tone. What's really great about what they've done here is not only did they go ahead obviously and model the amplifier, but then they also modeled some high-end condenser microphones, as well as some of the most popular dynamic microphones, along with the Silver Jubilee 4x12 cabinet. And they give you a little mini mixer here so you can blend the different types of microphones. And this is what makes this particular plugin and the whole line of Marshall emulations that UAD and Softtube did together. This is what makes this different. I don't know of any other, at least up to this point, any other guitar amp sims that you've used, like Guitar Rig and some of these other ones, where you have this much control over the microphones. I know you have some cabinet choices in those types of plugins, and you can move the microphone on the cabinet distance-wise and such. But this just seems like a much better way to do this. And because you have so many more tonal possibilities now because you're using different combinations of microphones. Okay, so let's take a look at that. So over in this section up here, we have a gate. If you want a noise gate to cut down on the noise, because these amps, when you crank them, are very noisy, you know. So that's just controlled here. Next to that, you have a master output, which doesn't change the tone. It just changes the audio level of the output of the plugin. And then to the right of that, you have what is the room mic delay. So because there's two room mics in this plugin, you can control the amount of delay that you hear to give it more of that larger or smaller room sound. And we'll play with that in a few seconds as well. Over here, you have your mic selection buttons. You have a set of condensers, which if you look down here on the little tape strip here, we have a U67, Neumann U67, a U87 for mic 2. And then for the room mics, we have a Coles 4038. And then for the second room mic, they have an SC Electronics RNR-1 microphone. Okay, if you click the dynamics, now we're dealing with different sets of microphones. You can see they changed here. So mic number 1 is an SM7B, which is a broadcast microphone made by Shure. It's actually the microphone that you're listening to right now with my voice. An SM57, obviously, what guitar plugin would not be complete without an SM57? And then again, using the Neumann U87 for one of the room mics, and then using a Telefunken ELAM 251 microphone for the second room mic. Okay, so it's pretty simple. You can take those microphones in and out by using these little buttons here. So we'll audition the different sounds of those. We'll take them all out for now, except for the SM7B. We'll start with that. You can pan these if you wanted to pan them left and right. Okay, and that's pretty much it. Not to mention they got, like I said, a ton of presets. But let's just stick on the default for a second, and let's just go ahead, and I'll just solo up the guitar itself, just so we can hear the differences and stuff, and then we'll put it back into the mix. So let me just loop this if we could. Okay, let's just loop this loop here. It's just a 1 minute kind of a rock thing. Okay, so let's just hear the guitar, and let's just start off with the SM7B. Now all the controls right now, we'll put them right at 12 o'clock, everything at 12 o'clock, straight up the middle. We will keep the rhythm clip gain off for this moment, and let's just listen to the SM7B. Turn this up a little. Okay, kind of a warmer sound, more darker. Here's the SM57. So this combination of microphone is hugely popular in the world of recording guitar tracks, where they'll take an SM7B, which is more of a warmer, a little bit darker sounding, along with an SM57, which has more of a buzzy, kind of a higher end sounding, kind of cuts through the mix and kind of blend the two together to kind of get a nice overall kind of a vibe. And you can do this to taste. Now, if we bring in the Coles mic, or the U87, here's the U87 on its own, the first room mic. Okay, it'll loop back around. Let's go over to the 251 now and hear the difference there. Okay, it's a distance room mic. We can use so now we can put the delay in if we want. Here's the room mic delay for this microphone. We can play with that a little bit. Okay, you get a lot of delay on it. A little too much, obviously, but you get the idea of what it does. Okay, so we get like kind of a quick little slap back there. Now we'll blend all of them to taste. Okay, now that's our dynamic microphones. And again, what's great is the tonal possibilities are almost endless here. If you don't want as much room mic, I tend to like less room mic, make it a little bit more dry on a track like this. But now let's go over to the condenser microphone. So that's one type of tone. Now if we switch over to the condenser microphones, we're dealing with a Neumann U67, a U87 for our close miking. We're also dealing with the Coles 4038 for the first room mic, and then we're dealing with the once again the SE Electronics RNR1. So let's see what the difference is there. Let's shut off everything but the U67. Okay, here's the 87. This is the U87 now. Again, the 87 is going to sound a little bit brighter, have a little bit more attack on it. The 67 is going to seem a little warmer. Let's check out the Coles. And the R&R. Okay, now if we blend them all together, here we go. Very martially, right? So now let's put this in the context of a mix, and I'll just play back and forth a little bit with the condenser microphones versus the dynamics and kind of just blend them to taste just to see what the differences are. Then we'll cycle through a few of the presets. So let's just listen to the whole kind of this in the context of a mix. Let's let this cycle. So hopefully you can hear the difference there over YouTube here, that the dynamic microphones obviously sound a lot different to me than the condenser microphones again, and you can play with this to your heart's content. So let's leave it on the condenser microphones right now. Let's just play a little bit with the settings. I'll just twist the knobs up and down so you can hear, you know, what these sound like. And again, they behave just like a real Marshall JCM 800 would. I'm going to go ahead and play with this rhythm clip indicator, see what this does. Okay, now that was also on the I believe on the low input. We have two inputs here, low and high output. So that's on the low. Let's click it over back and forth between low and high. So again, you can play with this for hours, but I mean, it sounds just really great right out of the box. So let's just pick a few presets and see what we have. So let's start off with the classic 67 mono. And as you can see, once we change the presets, all the different settings in the channel strip change. Oops. Some clean sounds. So as you can see, you could just have endless amounts of fun with this plugin. Again, I've only played with this a little bit. I recorded this track using just a standard Les Paul standard, Gibson Les Paul standard on the treble pickup, turned on full blast, which is kind of the classic rock and roll sound, Marshall, Les Paul into a Marshall. You really can't go wrong with that. So that is a quick look at the JCM Model 22555 Silver Jubilee. Great plugin. I think they've done a great job. Again, Softtube, Tony Platt, and UAD did a wonderful job on this particular plugin. And again, I would highly recommend it. If you're a guitar player or a producer in engineering, you have a universal audio system, I think you would be selling yourself a little short if you didn't have the Marshall bundle in your toolkit. If you want any kind of Marshall sound between this and, as I said earlier, the Blues Breaker and the Super Lead Plexi, the 59 that we looked at about a month ago, you have every known Marshall sound at your disposal. And if you're looking for that Marshall guitar tone, I think this is probably the best one I've heard. And again, is it dead on to the actual amplifier? That's debatable. I don't know. You'd have to A/B them side by side, but I'll tell you what, I've listened to lots of Marshalls in my day. I've recorded lots of Marshalls in my day, and I've played through lots of Marshalls in my day. And I can tell you that this bundle sounds as close as anything I've ever heard, and I can't, in the context of a mix, you're not going to be able to tell the difference. I think it sounds really, 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 really good, and I highly recommend it. So until we take a look at the next Marshall plugin in the next video, this has been David from homerecordingmadeeasy.com. If you want more tips and concepts and techniques and training on everything home recording, head out to homerecordingmadeeasy.com and let me know what you think about this plugin. Leave a comment below, jump out on our Facebook page, and let's talk about it. It's up there as well, and I will talk to you guys all soon. Take care.